So thank you for joining us today, Audrey. I'm here today with Adriana Lynch from Chief Outsiders. My name is Ken Schmitt. I'm the CEO and the founder of TurningPoint Executive Search, and we've had the pleasure of working with Audrey on a couple of assignments through Chief Outsiders. So thank you for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure, Ken. My pleasure.
So I thought we could maybe start with you giving us some insight about what Chief Outsiders is all about and kind of what you're seeing out there in terms of your role with Chief Outsiders and what the organization provides to your clients.
Great. So I have a dual role at Chief Outsiders. I am a CMO, an acting CMO, practicing CMO, and I'm also an area managing partner, which means I have the privilege to meet many, many clients that I possibly don't have the experience to help, but I do the matchmaking with one of the, ready for this, 120 CMOs currently across the country. And we have experiences across industries. We actually play a game called Name the Industry and challenge ourselves to make sure that we cover all industries across. And basically our services is what we call fractional chief marketing officers. And as we talk today, the fractional executive area is something that is really growing as well. And we can talk a little bit more about this if you'd like. But basically we provide Chief Marketing Officer quality work with our years of experience at a fraction of the cost because our clients are mid-market and they couldn't possibly afford a full-time CMO. So we get them to where they need to then hire the correct talent to run the organization as we have done before together, Ken.
That's great. That's great. Well, yeah, I certainly have seen the rise of fractional talent, but especially with you, the more folks that I talk to out there and I ask about, are they familiar with Chief Outsiders? And the majority say yes, which is great. So those 100 plus CMOs across the country are doing a great job with your own branding also, which is amazing. Awesome. And I know that you and I are based here in Southern California, but obviously, Chief Outsiders is a national organization. And we've actually partnered with some of your clients across on the East Coast and the Midwest, also in the South. So it's been nice to see those different flavors across industries, but also across the regions.
And actually, we have several clients international, Ken. I have 2 in Eastern Europe right now. We have a couple in India. So especially these days where so much happens virtually, we are crossing borders.
That's great. I'm curious, are you seeing, you mentioned that your clients are predominantly mid-market, which is the same as our clients also on the recruiting side. Are you seeing, is there any kind of commonality, common thread among the clients in terms of why they bring you in, kind of what that catalyst or that trigger point is?
Yeah, so starting with some of the current environment, and then we can go broader if you like, whatever would interest our audience. I think that what our clients, the mid-market executives are seeing is the risk of hiring the wrong talent immediately. So they engage a fractional chief marketing officer or a fractional chief finance officer to set the stage so the next full-time executive is successful in the long run. What we have found in general is that the type of executive to set the strategy and start putting what we call the growth gears in motion. So from strategy all the way to the execution to make sure that growth engine is working before we pass it along to those who have a phenomenal talent to execute in the long term. And that seems to be a approach that the mid-marketers find comfort in.
And so do you tend to, I know the examples where the engagements where we've worked with you and partnered with you, there's usually some type of a marketing support staff. Could be a marketing coordinator, sometimes a marketing manager, but nobody else at that high level of strategy that you're providing. Is that true for most of your clients in terms of some support staff being in place?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. One of my clients right now, I'm the sole marketing department. Because, and that is important to know, because for all those that are thinking about hiring a fractional executive, what I would say is make sure that you hire an executive that is not a consultant. Right. Hire an executive that is an operator, because we need to roll up the sleeves and get things done. When we work together, I wrote the job descriptions, right? There is a difference between delivering to the clients a deck, and good luck with that,
Right.
versus, working with the client on the strategy and then go and start executing to see the results come in before you pass it to somebody that will be successful in the long term.
That's a really good point. I think the very end of what you said there, from in my experience, that's been fantastic and a nice differentiator, because a lot of times a consultant will go in and they'll be there for a very, very short, finite amount of time, for maybe 2-3 months or something like that. And the follow through, the delivery, of the actual plan, the actual implementation of the plan is not part of that engagement. Whereas, again, in my experience with you, you've been out with clients for 1, 2, 3, 4 years in some cases. So you're there for the long haul. So the accountability is there, but also the follow through is there too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Super important.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm curious in terms of what you're seeing out there, Audrey, among your clients about, things have changed so much over the last couple of years with COVID, obviously, but, the emerging trends, but also what the need is from a lot of your clients in terms of what they expect from their marketing executives.
That's a very interesting question, Ken. And as I think about the broad exposure that I'm having to different industries and different clients, 2 trends are emerging. One is this expectation that your marketing executive understands and knows how to play the pricing arena, which is something that for years in the United States was not a big lever. But now when we hit 9.1% inflation, we need to think about it. So one of my recommendations to the clients is, first of all, have this frank conversation with your executive. Do you feel that you have pricing expertise? And give them room to say, no, I've never seen myself in this situation before, and then ask for help. Obviously, Chief Outsiders is here to help. We actually have what we call the pricing Sherpas. But it's something that needs to be addressed. Otherwise, at this point, your margins are eroding. And the consumers are understanding now, Ken, in these inflationary times, that there will be price adjustments. Now, price adjustment is a science as much as it is an art. That's why I think it's important to have that conversation with your executive. Do you have the expertise? How can we work on this? So that's one piece. The second piece is, it became a jargon, right? To get into the digital area, the digital transformation. So let me demystify this for you. What is the digital transformation? Until recently, and I would say recently, 10 years is recent, executives, companies were using digital to generate awareness and generate some leads through that awareness. And then you pass the ball, more classically, throw it over the fence to sales or business development. Those days are over.
Right. Yeah.
The real digital transformation these days is really marketing taking accountability and responsibility to go deeper on what we call the digital funnel, right? And what is the funnel? We generate awareness, we educate the consumer, we generate interest and intent. So when a lead come in, now that lead is qualified. And what I'm passing to sales or business development is a lot more efficient, because those resources are incredibly expensive.
Yeah, very true.
And what is really interesting is that we are seeing this both on B2B and B2C. And historically, the B2B, business to business companies, didn't give marketing deep responsibility into the funnel and hold them accountable to pass to sales or business development's qualified leads.
Right.
But that's a trend that is super important. It increases efficiency. And if you have the right key performance indicators, you will know if you have to adjust your investments and your actions up or down.
Yeah. No, that's great. No, I agree. And I think I see that, quite a bit as well. We've been doing marketing searches for a long time as well. And as you said, that's really changed and it's noticeably different over the last 10 years in particular. And we also see, to your point also, not only is it a matter of making sure the leads are more qualified and there's a more clearly defined, definition, if you will, or reason for a lead coming in, but also that collaboration between sales and marketing. It used to be that, it's a very linear where, it was marketing, marketing, marketing. Okay, stop. Then sales takes over. But to your point, now it's much more circular and they have to always be collaborating back and forth to really be the most effective. Otherwise, they're gonna miss the boat in a lot of different areas, especially for mid-market companies, where they need that brand to be consistent and cohesive.
Can you nail it on the head? A super important conversation that needs to happen between marketing and sales is, what is the definition of a qualified lead?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have had many conversations with sales and marketing where the disconnect is there.
Right.
But it doesn't matter if there is a disconnect. As long as you talk about it, identify the disconnect and get aligned. The problem happens when each one of us, marketing and sales, sit in our corners with our own idea what a qualified lead is. Then
right.
Not going to be good.
Exactly. Yeah. And I even see that even among, marketing folks that, or, searches that we do where the expectation is marketing has to be able to communicate with sales, but also operations, also product development, product design, even IT. So again, to your point, nobody can sit in their siloed corner anymore. There's got to be that ongoing communication for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that brings me to a different conversation, if you will, mm-hmm. which is within Chief Outsiders, we talk about big M and little m, mm-hmm. right? And the big M is that executive that puts the head on of the whole business. Mm-hmm. So when I work with a client, my role is to bring in revenue profitably. Mm-hmm. So of course I need to work with supply chain. Mm-hmm. We need to work together with product development. We need to work together with finance. I used to joke, but it's true, so much true that I married a chief financial officer. But without finance, marketing is blind. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's more to the right or more to the left. And that's what I always advise CEOs to look for mm-hmm. in a chief marketing officer or a strategic leader. Right. Otherwise, what we get is the little M. Mm-hmm. Is somebody that will change our website, change mm-hmm. our fonts, do an email campaign. And we ended up calling that very dearly, mm-hmm. random acts of marketing.
Right, I like that.
This is when it's like throwing the spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks, and then you don't remember which spaghetti was the one that stuck or not. Right. So there is a science to the madness. And if you want to get really, really solid tactical plans, mm-hmm. they need to be developed based on real strategies that are actually developed based on real insights mm-hmm. that we get from customers, from clients. The voice of the customer, which is something everybody talks about, is a real thing. You get on the phone and talk to them. Right. You do surveys and you go from I think, I like, and I believe to I know. Mm-hmm,
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really good point. Yeah, I was talking actually this past week with the former global head of marketing for Reebok, and he was talking about that very thing and talking about he had been at Reebok for over 22 years and talking about the evolution of marketing as he saw it, whether it was merchandising or pricing or using influencer marketing or what have you. But to your point, it's got to be clearly defined from the beginning. What does profitable sales, if you will, look like? And as you said, a marketing leader's role is to bring in profitable sales and figure out how best to do that, no matter what platform, what social media platform, or anything else, any other channel that you might use, making sure that you're in alignment across the board.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I can't stress enough the importance of quantitative marketing. Mm-hmm. I say this to my clients kind of tongue in cheek, but it's true. I have two mottos. In God we trust. Everybody else brings data. And the second one that I always tell the teams that I work with, it's really true. I think, I like, and I believe, don't make a business plan. Mm-hmm. We have hypotheses that we want to go test.
Right.
And I can't enforce enough the power of testing and expand. instead of just throwing something out there globally or nationally and see if it sticks. So
right, exactly.
metrics are the key.
Yeah. And if you have a clear plan in place, you should be able to test a couple of different ways to get to the end result to figure out which one is the most ideal and which one has the most traction also.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about, obviously one of the great benefits of chief outsiders on the fractional side is that you are there seeing everything through, not just kind of get in for 2 months and then make an escape. At what point do you start to think about, okay, now we should probably talk about bringing somebody in on a permanent basis to augment the work that you're doing as the big M, as you talked about. But when does that take place? I know with the 5 or 6 or 7 different situations that we had with clients of chief outsiders, it was, okay, we've been out here for 1.5 years or 2 years. We need someone to come in to kind of be that permanent, role in-house. But you guys had put together such an amazing foundation, it was time to kind of bring somebody else in to kind of take that handoff. Any recommendations or ideas that you have in terms of other companies that are contemplating bringing in somebody on a permanent basis at some point and partnering with a search firm?
So I think it's very important to have the discussion with the search firm about what we really expect from that executive. And if you allow me to draw the example from the very last search.
Yeah, great.
In every single candidate I talked about, for every single candidate I talked to, one of the things that they were incredibly impressed was the knowledge TurningPoint had about the marketing discipline. So it was like, Audrey, they really know our trade. They really know our craft. And why is that? Is because you guys are incredibly focused and specialized in marketing and sales. And we had some difficult conversations.
Right.
We had difficult conversations amongst us on, hey, we need to align marketing and sales, or 2, we need to bring the CEO up to speed on where the market salaries are, bring it to reality.
Right.
So I think that in the search process, finding such a solid search partner like yourselves, which will tell us as it is and back it up with data.
Right.
As you did with all the market. I just thank you so much, by the way. I just got the latest report this morning. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Those are very important pieces. The second one is, if you did work with a fractional, setting the stage for the new long-term person. Trust your fractional. And I tell you this from the heart, because the worst thing a fractional CMO can do is overextend our welcome.
Right.
In this last search that we worked together, I adore the client. I'm going to be lying to you if I didn't feel jealous of the incoming CMO. But that's the job, is to grow your kid and let them go.
Right, exactly. Right? Send them off into the wilderness.
Absolutely. It was very clear they were ready and I had done my job.
Yeah. Right.
And so when your CMO says, you're done, you're good. And we take tremendous pride in not passing a problem to incoming candidate.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The pleasure of interviewing somebody, and when somebody's going like, okay, what's hidden here? What are you not telling me? I'm not telling you anything. I spent 2 years fixing stuff.
Right.
and that
it's all been handled. Yeah, right.
And they thrive. They get light and they get excited. And we believe at Chief Outsiders that by setting the stage for a full-time hire correctly, that we are giving the gift of our attention to our clients.
That's great. That's a great way to put it. No, I love that. And I think just as you talked about earlier with the importance of internal communication between marketing and sales and operations and those teams, the same holds true for us on the outside, right? We've got to make sure that we have a good line of communication and transparency and honesty and candor, working on the search with you as well. And, you and your client were so open, you were so receptive to that feedback. And like you said, it was tough because it required a little bit of a recalibration in terms of compensation, just because the market has gone a little bit crazy over the last, year and a half or so. So that collaboration is great for us on the outside also to make sure that we're on the same page and there's not a disconnect there somewhere, which is great.
And as a result, we got the exact talent we needed. We couldn't be more pleased. Again.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I'm very happy to hear that. It's wonderful. I'll keep that going. So if people want to learn more about what you do as Chief Outsiders, kind of talk to you personally, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Oh, you can give me a call.
Okay, great. Good old-fashioned phone call.
Good old-fashioned phone call. You can find my phone number at Chief Outsiders on our website, or just shoot me an email. One of the things that I want to make sure to everybody, we just want to help. So if you give us a call and we are not the right fit for you, if you need something else, we'll help you find what that is.
Right.
If I could, I would love to be the concierge of business for all my clients. Call me for anything you need. Let me see what I can do to help.
Right. And I have that exact same philosophy. That's why we're so well aligned.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So give us a call, shoot me an email. Let's have a conversation, see if we can be of any help or not.
That's great. No, thank you. Thank you for making yourself available for that. I appreciate that. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. I really, again, appreciate your time and sharing your insights also. And I look forward to working with you with future clients as well.
Oh, my pleasure, Ken. And I can't wait to work with you again. Thank you so much for everything.
You're welcome. Good seeing you. Thanks, Audrey.
Bye.